Okay, here's the first video of my series of tutorial on how to grade comic books. I figured the first thing to do before we get into grading would be spotting restoration. For the young collectors out there, CGC didn't come into existence until sometime like in 1999, and prior to that, all through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there are a lot of people that would doctor up, fixed up books to make it look better, to get a better price when they sell it. To not to trying to skirt around the issue, but they were trying to scam people into buying something that it is not. Often you see a lot of Silver Age, Golden Age books that were fixed up to hide flaws and make the book give a book a higher grade than it's supposed to be, and then the seller unknowingly will buy it and pay more. But it was a very common problems, especially in the 80s. Especially when I was in the late 80s, early 90s, when I was buying a lot of back issues. There was a lot of problem. But I want to touch upon color touch. Color touch is a very common practice that's people, or you want to call them scammers or thieves. What they do is they take a book that had flaws that they can hide in order to give the book the appearance of a higher grade. For example, if you look at this book, there's a few minor color loss there in the white. It's not bad, but you can see some here. As far as color touch, there are two kinds. There are professional and then there's amateur. Professional will use special ink, acrylic, or other kind of ink that will not bleed through the paper. I'm giving you this example of what I call amateur restoration, color touch, because this person used ink that bled through. I bought this, gosh, in the late 80s without knowing much about color touch. So I kept it now more for a teaching example. So the first thing that everyone should do when they buy a book, doesn't matter if it's bronze or silver or gold, is examine the spine on the interior, okay? Because if you have bad restoration, this is what happened. The color bled through the covers. Look at that. So all this area, as you can see here, is done to mask the flaws that was there. So whoever it was used some kind of ink, marker, whatever you're gonna, who knows what they use, but they try to hide the flaw that was there. But like I said, this is a bad job because it bled through. So that's what you need to do, okay? To prevent buying books that have been restored. Here you have Spider-Man number 60s. I bought this also long ago, and unfortunately I did pay more than I should, and it took a while for me to spot the error. Of course, now it's easy for me to spot it because I had spent significant amount of my time study color touch issues. So as you can see, this issue have a black cover, so it's quite common to see mid-grade book with a lot of spine issues. So here you can see, take a look at this. There are so many spine stress area, so many. Look at that. And if you look at any books that have a spine stress like this, you will see a color white showing on this stress point, right? Because that's where the flaws are. And it's obvious that whoever it is that want to restore this book use some kind of black ink to cover up all those white stress point. They try to, but it's a bad job regardless. But that's what they did. Now, for a young kid, untrained eye, you have no idea. Okay, you can look at this book and say, "Oh, not bad. This looked like a nice 8," and then you would buy it like I did. I look at this book and I thought it was in the, very fine range, and I bought it. Years later, after I learned about color touch, this book would fall into the fine minus range if all these flaws are not fixed up. There are literally over a dozen of the spine stresses. So as you can see, there's no way this book would be in the 8.0 range as it was made to appear. And as you can see, this cover interior show no sign of any kind of ink. So the ink that was used here, what is considered professional restoration by CGC, because whoever it is that fixed up this book know enough about the bleed through issue to avoid it and trying to deceive the buyer or potential buyer. So I hope that this lesson helps some people out there. But thanks for watching, and hopefully I will come back with more tips on how to catch other restoration. Thank you for watching. Bye.